Hello, good afternoon. You are watching Truth TV News with me, Nana Kofi Tete. We are transmitting live from our studios at Heritage Christian College here in Amasaman. Coming up in the bulletin, Supreme Court dismisses Mahama's election petition, and later in business, Kotoka International Airport adjudged best airport in Africa. And with news on the foreign front, Angola begin COVID-19 vaccine fights with COVAX vaccines. We have details of this and more coming now. Thanks for joining me. Now let's settle for the details of the story. A 7-member panel of the Supreme Court has dismissed former President John Mahama's suit challenging the 2020 election results. In reading the judgment on Thursday, March 4, 2021, Chief Justice Enimi Abua stated that the petitioner failed to prove his case beyond a reasonable doubt. He added that the errors announced by the Electoral Commission chairperson Jane Mensah, which were later corrected, cannot be used for the election petition.
Such data here and couldn't. The evidence is thus clear that the petitioner failed to meet credible evidence to prove his case that none of the parties who contested the presidential election with him made the more than 50% threshold as required by Clause 3 of Article 63 of 1992 Constitution. And so there should be a rerun. All the petitioner sought to do by way of evidence was to tender Exhibit A to demonstrate that the chairperson of first respondent committed errors in making the declaration. But as already stated, that error could not take away the valid votes of the people. Having held that the declaration by the chairperson of first respondent on 9th of December 2020 did not violate Article 63, Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution, we will end the resolution of issue 4 with 2 admonitions. The first is that for our esteemed brother Mavumani JC in the case of Akufo-Addo Hernandez versus Mahama and another, Supra, at page 439. Quote, elections are complex systems designed and run by fallible human beings. Thus, it is not surprising that mistakes, errors, or some other imperfection occur during an election. Because absolute electoral imperfection is unlikely and because finality and stability are important values. Not every error, imperfection, or combination of problems found in an election contest voice the election or changes its outcome.
Also, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Bawumia, have reacted excitedly to the final ruling of the Supreme Court on the 2020 election petition sent to the court by John Dramani Mahama.
December 2020, as already stated in this judgment, the petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135, for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as proved by the petitioner as in relief F. We are only to dismiss the petition as having no merit.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Meanwhile, former President John Dramani Mahama will be addressing the press after the ruling of the Supreme Court verdict. We have details of this coming up in our subsequent bulletin. Away from that, the Health Minister designate Kweku Agyeman-Manu has hinted at the possibility of making COVID-19 vaccines jab compulsory for all Ghanaians, but in the short term, he said such discussions were premature.
He instead urged all Ghanaians to willingly avail themselves of the vaccination rollout which started on March 2. The former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Mike Okoye, however, shot down the possibility that a law would be enforced to compel Ghanaians to avail themselves for the vaccination. He also said through public education and sensitization, many will come on board to take the jabs. Some Ghanaians have expressed misgivings about the safety of the vaccines amid the threat of misinformation and conspiracy theories. President Akufo-Addo and his wife were vaccinated in a ceremony broadcast live on television to allay the fears of citizens. The president urged people to get vaccinated and not to believe persons casting doubts on the rollout. Ghana received 600,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine on Monday as part of the COVAX distribution program. The vaccination rollout is to be conducted in 43 districts with high infection rate. They include 25 in the Greater Accra region, 16 in the Ashanti region, and 2 in the Central region. As Ghana enters the second day of the mass vaccination, it has 5,444 active cases of the virus with 607 deaths. Ghana has had 84,023 known cases of the virus in all.
Also, the Central Regional Director of Health, Dr. Akuso Usisapon, has stated that the COVID-19 vaccine does not cause erectile dysfunction among males, giving an assurance to persons who will be taking the vaccine. Dr. Usisapon said men should be rest assured that the vaccine would not cause erectile problems.
At the launch of the vaccination in the Central region in Cape Coast last Monday, Dr. Owusu Sapon said there had been documented evidence of the vaccine's safety and efficacy, adding that it had the ability to generate appropriate immune response to fight the virus. She said there were, however, some known side effects that did not affect everyone, such as fever and feeling unwell for about 1 or 2 days, after which it dissipated. She said foreigners in the catchment areas would also qualify to be vaccinated, adding that the aim of the vaccination exercise was to reduce the spread of the disease and everybody in the catchment area would be vaccinated. Dr. Owusu Sapon said the effect of COVID-19 on businesses had been immense and it was important for all to make themselves available to be vaccinated as the country worked to curb its spread. The Deputy Director in charge of Public Health, Dr. Godfred Kwabena Sapon, said 10,290 people in 2 districts, Ewutu Senya and Ewusu Senya East, excluding persons under 18 and pregnant mothers, had been targeted to be vaccinated in the exercise. He explained that the 2 districts had been chosen because they were the high disease burden areas and epicenters in the region. He said outreach points outside the health facilities and mobile teams would be deployed for the exercise. He also urged Ghanaians to dispel myths, fears, and the misinformation, saying it was because it was safe that notable personalities, including the president, had taken the shot. He said the Ghana Health Service had taken the necessary precautions and strict monitoring to ensure persons who reacted adversely to the vaccines were promptly attended to. The Chief Director of the Central Regional Coordinating Council, Mr. Kingsley Ejebuahin, commended the government for the efforts to get the vaccines. He appealed to all in the exercise area to get vaccinated to reduce the spread of the disease.
Away from that, the Ghana Grid Company Limited says the closure of an emergency valve at the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company is to blame for power cuts in parts of Ghana on Wednesday, March 3, 2021. According to the company, the action ended up curtailing gas supply to some generating plants in the country. Parts of Ghana were off from the power grid early Wednesday morning, with many Ghanaians taking to social media and other platforms to raise concerns. They claim such has been the case in the past few days and had demanded the release of a load shedding timetable from the country's power managers. GRIDCO in a statement called for calm, ensuring that engineers are currently on site working to restore gas supply and ultimately get the affected parts back on the grid. GRIDCO had given a similar excuse for power cuts last week. According to the company, on Saturday, February 27, 2021, gas supply challenges emanating from the offshore field led to the loss of power. To avert a total system shutdown, power supply to some bulk supplier points was disrupted, causing outrage in parts of the country. Key stakeholders in the power value chain, including WAPCO, are currently working to restore gas supply shortly. Meanwhile, arrangements have been made for other generating plants to come online to restore supply to the affected areas. Any inconveniences caused is deeply regretted. Now, a senior audiologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mr. Joseph Omane Boateng, has stated that the lack of facilities in the country to treat hearing losses is the major cause of the high rate of cases being recorded annually. As part of this year's World Hearing Day celebration, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has put in place measures to screen babies from the ages of 0 to 3 years to help examine children since they are likely to suffer hearing loss at their age. In an interview with Mr. Omane Boateng explained that the facility in the country that treat hearing impediment are not enough, and that is a major challenge for them. According to him, the hearing aid centers in the country are not enough, and we just have a few. And that will be all for local stories. Business news is next. In business today, Ghana's Kotoka International Airport has been adjudged the best airport in Africa that handles 2 meters to 5 meters passengers per annum by Airport Council International.
The ACI's Airport Service Quality Awards, which highlighted the world's best airports as judged by their customers, is based on the views of customers in 2020. It measures passenger satisfaction across 34 key performance indicators. Given the challenging situation posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Kotoka International Airport was recognized for listening to its customers and adapting the services and experience it offers to meet changing needs and expectations under the current very trying circumstances. The airport operator Ghana Airports Company Limited, since the outbreak of the pandemic, intensified its cleaning routine and has undertaken fumigation exercise of the entire facility twice. Again, though the airport was scheduled to close passenger traffic for about 5 months, the ability of the airport managers working with government agencies to institute an antigen test in time for the reopening of the facility on September 1, 2020 was lauded by passengers and governments around the world and served as a model for others. The Kotoka International Airport is also among the first few airports in Africa that have received ACI's Airport Health Accreditation Certificate. ACI World Director General Louis Felipe de Oliveira said ACI's Airport Service Quality Awards represents the highest possible accolade for airport operators around the world. This year, more than any other, the awards recognize those airports that have listened to their customers and adapted the services and experiences they offer to meet changing needs and expectations under very trying circumstances. More than half of the world's travelers pass through an ASQ airport. ACI adapted the rigorous quality control process for the ASQ Awards program to ensure the benchmarking and findings from the ASQ surveys remained of the highest quality during the COVID-19 pandemic. Other winners include Moi International Airport in Mombasa, Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Kenya, and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Nigeria.
And that will be all for business news. Up next is international news. Now in news on the foreign front, Angola received the first shipment of vaccines against COVID-19. The Southern African nation received 624,000 doses of the vaccine manufactured in India and donated in the scope of COVAX, an initiative of WHO.
The COVAX initiative aims at providing fair and equitable access to middle and low-income countries. Angola with the vaccines became the third African country after Ghana and Ivory Coast to receive the COVAX shipment. The vaccine's central warehouse was also inaugurated in Luanda, and the first doses were administered to 50 people. Beneficiaries included health professionals, defense and security bodies, and patients with comorbidities. World Health Organization representative in Angola, Dr. Jamila Cabral, said that the delivery of vaccines to